we'll have a recap of the previous Padres game, a preview of today's starting pitching matchup, and our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Mike Schultz. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
Braden Suprenant filling in for Sam Levitt today as we get you ready for Padres and Rockies. Game 2 of a 3-game set in Colorado. Well, what a difference a year makes. Just 365 days ago, the San Diego Padres were quickly approaching the end of a disappointing season in which they were trying to battle their way back out of a hole in which they created in the first half of a non-execution style baseball year. 365 days ago, of course, it was Friday, August 18th, 2023, and the Padres were 59-64 in the season. Fourth place in the National League West, 16 games behind the Dodgers for the lead, and 5 games out of a wild card spot. Now, some 365 days later, the Padres lead the wild card by 4.5 games that are in striking distance of the NL West crown, only chasing the Dodgers by 3 in the standings. They can thank exceptional play from relatively the same cast of characters from a year ago, but also some help from some young faces and unlikely heroes. Standing in their way to continue to climb the ladder would be the dreaded Colorado Rockies, a organization that has been a thorn in the Padres' side since their existence in 1993. Padres will try to flip the script tonight after a loss yesterday, and if we get you started here with the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. Good evening and welcome into the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on KWFN 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. I am Braden Suprenant filling in for Sam Levitt, and let's set the table. Brought to you by Fraser Farmers Market. Set the table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971, with 3 locations: La Mesa, Vista, and Oceanside. Padres off day on Thursday, August 15th, was their lone off day from August 6th through September 2nd. Today is game 2 of playing 18 games in 18 days from August 16th to September 2nd, and game 11 in a stretch of playing 27 games in 28 days. Padres are tied for second place in the National League West with the Diamondbacks 3 games out of the division leading spot held by the Los Angeles Dodgers. And in the wild card race, there are 3 spots led by the Padres, Diamondbacks, and the Atlanta Braves. San Diego has gone 19-5 since the All-Star break, and their .792 winning percentage is the best in baseball, ranking 2nd and 4th in winning percentage out of the break. Our fellow NL West clubs, the Diamondbacks and the Los Angeles Dodgers. San Diego pitchers lead Major League Baseball on opponent average in whip since the All-Star break, and the Padres batters have the 3rd best clip in the major leagues, hitting .283, behind the Red Sox hitting .285, and the Diamondbacks hitting .288. Kind of a setting the tone of the pregame for today. But before we break any more of tonight's game, let's take a look at how Game 1 of the series transpired last night in Colorado with the Padres Rewind.
How did the Padres fare in their last game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind. Presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
San Diego Padres, Colorado Rockies last night. Game 1 of a 3-game series in Colorado. Padres this weekend needed to sweep the Colorado Rockies in order to win the season series, for what that is worth. Well, didn't really get off that great for the San Diego Padres and starting pitcher Matt Waldron after the Padres did not put up any runs in the top half of the first inning. In the bottom half, the Rockies made the Padres pay. They jumped out to a 1-0 lead, and then Brendan Rodgers hit his 10th home run of the season.
McMahon and Doyle take their leads. Here's the 2-2 pitch, swung on, hit in the air to very deep left field. Rofor is going to turn around, watch, it's going to go. A home run for Brendan Rodgers, a 3-run shot in the bottom of the first inning, and the Rockies are ahead 4-0.
Tough start for the San Diego Padres, but I tell you what, it's Coors Field, never know what can happen. In the top half of the second, Ha-Seong Kim cut the lead in half with his 11th home run of the season.
1-1. Kim swings, launches it to left. Beck is back, and this is gone. A home run for Ha-Seong Kim. 11th of the year, and a 2-run shot here in the second inning has cut the deficit in half.
No wall to deny Kim this time.
A 4-2 ball game in favor of Colorado, but then in the bottom half of the second, Charlie Blackmon, who has owned the Padres since he started with the Colorado Rockies, made it back to a 4-run deficit, his 8th homer of the season.
Blackmon drew a walk to lead off in the bottom of the first, and on 3-1, he sends one in the air to deep right field. Peralta's back. He's going to turn around to watch. Second deck above the Colorado bullpen and right. A home run for Charlie Blackmon, his 8th of the year, and that 2-run shot re-extends their lead at 6-2.
6-2 lead for the Rockies as the game went to the top half of the 4th inning. Again, it is Coors Field. You never know where you can find some power. Padres cut the deficit in half yet again. It was Xander Bogaerts with a solo shot.
Here's the 2-0. Bogaerts swings, hits it in the air to deep left field. Beck is back again. He will watch again. This one gonna go up to the top row in left field. Xander's 6th of the year, and he continues to terrorize the Rockies. This is a 6-3 game in the 4th.
Ladies and gentlemen, he leaves no doubt about this big boy blast.
So the Padres cut the deficit twice, but unfortunately for them, the Rockies added another one in the 6th, made it 7-3. Padres put up zeros the rest of the game, and that would do it for San Diego. The Padres scored 3 runs on 9 hits, no errors, left 10 on base. Rockies 7 runs on 10 hits, 1 error, they left 5 on base. Cal Quantrill got the win. He is 8-8 on the season. Matt Waldron takes the L. He's 7-10. Tied the ball game last night, 2 hours and 41 minutes, played in front of 33,054 on a 91-degree clear evening in the Mile High City. That was last night's game. Let's head over to a hot Coors Field and Jesse Agler with our game preview.
Let's go inside the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup from Jesse Agler in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Now bringing the voice of the San Diego Padres, Mr. Jesse Agler. Jesse, I heard it's a hot one over there in Colorado. How's it going?
Oh, little toasty. I got 97 right now, and as you know, in Colorado, with the altitude and the dryness, the 97 is oppressive, and then you factor in the thin air and the way it makes your face feel and your skin feel. I don't know. For me, not my favorite. But the good news is, late enough in the day, you got a lot of shade now, and you can kind of hide there. But definitely a warm one in Denver.
Well, hopefully Dave Marcus is fanning both of y'all down up there in the booth in Colorado. Let's talk about this red-hot Padres team. And obviously, Jesse, it's the first time talking to you this season, but I mentioned what a difference a year makes, and I know this has kind of been the narrative for the last couple of weeks, but this Padres ball club has played some hard-nosed baseball under Mike Schilt and have really been a drastically different team since the All-Star break in the second half compared to the first half. How have you seen that these guys have played, and what has been the biggest difference in calling these ball games in the second half of the season with a lot of young players stepping up, some new faces, and some unlikely heroes for the San Diego Padres?
I would say the results obviously are different, since the All-Star break with the great run that they're on and winning all these series, 19-4, whatever it is now. But I actually think they're kind of playing the same baseball now that they were for most of the first half. And maybe it wasn't immediate at the beginning of the year, but I think this is just sort of the way that they have played, and it's just come together in a way that has led to a lot more victories. And that is something that they talked about day one in spring training. They were going to have these kinds of at-bats. They were going to have this approach at the plate, and, they have just flipped it on its head from last year. Anybody who followed this team last year, right? What do you remember? You remember the extra inning losses. You remember the bad numbers with runners in scoring position and the bad record in one-run games. And you don't have to be a baseball scientist to figure out, well, situational hitting and approach, is a very big part of why those three things were the way they were. And they've just done a total 180 in all of those departments this year. They strike out less than any other team in baseball. Last year, they struck out almost as much as any team in Major League Baseball. And they're making contact, obviously, that goes along with that at a much higher rate. All the numbers are up across the board offensively, and that's just sort of what they've done. And it has blossomed further in the second half, certainly results-wise. But this is the way they've been playing all year long. And, look, the really good news is, that is the style of baseball that wins in October. And so they are set up, for their ultimate goal, which, of course, remains trying to win the World Series. But, yeah, there's no doubt. They're on a tremendous run coming out of this All-Star break. They're going for win number 70. And just to, again, draw a contrast from last year, they didn't win their 70th game last season until September 15th. And, their next win now, whether it's tonight, tomorrow, or the next day, will be number 70 for this year. So it's in every way very different than last year and obviously much better.
For a long period of time, the Rockies have been a thorn in the Padres' side, since they started in 93. Since you started broadcasting with the Padres, it's been a rough matchup for San Diego. What have the Rockies been able to do against the Padres that's been so successful, or has it just been one of those, just doesn't happen to be a good matchup for San Diego these last couple of games?
I don't know that it's a matchup thing necessarily. I think there's a couple of things going on. One, the Rockies, I know the record is what it is, but there's talent there, offensively in particular, and the pitching is always going to be, problematic for them, of course. But, and I'm not just talking about Charlie Blackmon, who's, the president of the Padre Killer Club, but you look up and down this lineup, I mean, they got real hitters. They really do, and these are, young guys, a lot of them who maybe are just starting to get it going at this level and just sort of figuring it out at this level. But there is real talent there. That's one thing I would say. And the other thing is, and I know nobody ever wants to hear this, but there is something about this building. And it's not just all the runs that are scored, it's the weirdness of it. And I'll use a football analogy. It's fitting maybe today with Todd Helton being honored before the game this afternoon. Of course, he's famously backed up Peyton Manning and Heath Schuler at the University of Tennessee. And the way I've always thought about Coors is, think about a college football game. And you got the number 5 team in the country, playing a conference game against some team that's like 6-7 or something like that. And, you say, obviously, the one team is superior to the other. But now all of a sudden, it's raining. Maybe it's a Thursday night. You've had a short week. The field is kind of sloppy. And so all of a sudden, that talent that you might have as the superior team over the other, that gap is shrunk by the circumstances. And that's just sort of always how I felt about Coors. You could bring in the 27 Yankees to take on, whatever Rocky team you want, and it would just go weirdly because of this building and the way the games go here and all the green space in the outfield and all the sort of peculiarities of trying to pitch here. So it might be a little bit of a sloppy analogy, but that's how I've always thought about this place. Is it almost levels the playing field or closes the gap between two teams. And then, of course, you throw in, the absurd randomness of baseball in general. And maybe this is what you get. I don't know. But there's definitely something about it.
That and the fact that, like you said, sometimes that 6-7 team or 6-6 team wants to shock the world and go after the top dog coming in. So that could be also a part of it as well. Jesse, thanks again for the time. Stay cool up there and have a good call.
Thanks, Braden.
Jesse Ackler again joining us on the EcoWater Padres pregame show. Took care of the rewinds, got the game preview. When we come back, we're going to talk with Mike Schilt, who met with the media. Extra long media conference today. Had a lot to chat about when it comes to this ball club. We'll talk about who's hot and who's not, specifically on the San Diego Padres and how they have played in the second half, but also how they have played against the Rockies. I mean, it's not just this year, and I know Jesse was talking about the building. It's not just the building. I mean, the Rockies have done well against the Padres here at Petco Park as well. I'll have all the numbers on that. We'll go around the horn. We got some news, injury news for some teams in Major League Baseball. Jacob deGrom says he's ready to come back to a rehab assignment. Brewers optimistic about Christian Yelich for opening day. And then, of course, we'll get you the Padres injury report. We got some news on Fernando Tatis Jr., all of that coming up next on the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. I'm Braden Soprenet filling in for Sam Levitt on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Welcome back to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on 97 through the Fan. I'm Braden Suprenant filling in for Sam Levitt. We got the Padres and the Rockies. Game 2 of a 3-game series. And the last time these two teams will play each other this season. Colorado has already gotten the best of the Padres for the season series, but San Diego still in the thick of things for the National League West Division as well as the wild card. And we'll have updates on the scores on our out-of-town scoreboard in just a little bit. But first, let's head on down to the clubhouse and hear what Mike Schilt has to say before tonight's game in Colorado.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Schilt. Presented by Sinley Food. Spice up your culinary life.
Phil coming off a little bit of a rough outing for himself, your anticipation of his ability to rebound.
Oh, yeah. I mean, complete confidence in Dylan. Every time we send him out there, he's a complete warrior. He goes about it the right way. I love the way he consistently competes. Got all the pitches. So we're excited to see him. He'll be great tonight.
And it might help that he's back on his regular routine. It got a little bit disrupted with that rain activity.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, we don't want to take for granted because we are in October. I do think the blow might have been good for him, but pitchers and position players, we can be creatures of habit, and he did stay on turn, but he only got into the one inning, but yeah, he'll be ready to go today.
Going back to last night, now Waldron obviously gave up the runs early, but then he comes back and he gives you innings. That's always important, but even more crucial here at Coors.
Yeah, well, I think I thought about your question. You asked me yesterday about, managing differently here. Yes and no, and then the innings to your question is yes and no. Innings are important always from our guys. I do think it's more important that we have guys that are able to get those innings at the beginning of a longer stretch. Whether it's 6 games or whether it's 9 games or whether it's 18 games. You want to start, which was what made, I thought, the last stretch pretty impressive with our group and how the bullpen was able to pick each other up. With this abbreviated start with Dylan in the rain in Pittsburgh day 1. But yeah, him being able to go out and grab into the 6th inning and get those outs were pretty crucial for a lot of reasons. And as far as managing different here, I mean, you might want to stay with guys a little bit longer here because everybody's dealing with the same things. But then also, I mean, this park's interesting because sometimes it'll play big and sometimes it'll play like you're playing just anywhere, and you can't really assume that, it's going to be a slugfest. I mean, the game last night they scored 6 after 2, only gave up 1 after that, We had the bases loaded, nobody out, didn't scratch, scored 3, and then weren't able to score any more than that. So it's an interesting place to manage, and we take our best bolt at it.
Seems like Hassan Kim has been swinging the bat well, and obviously he had that little break with the tricep issue, but since he's come back from that, really starting to get on fire. Your thoughts on his progress over?
Yeah, I think he's been great. I mean, the tricep issue was not an issue as far as making him not be able to play or play effectively. He gave him a day off that was planned, but no, Hassan's really swung the bat well and plays his normal good defense. He's a big part of our club.
Is Jackson just a day off today?
Jackson's a day off today.
Going at it pretty hard.
Long season, going at it pretty hard. Trying to find spots that make sense to give him a day off. Lefty going. I mean, it's part of it. Peralta's got numbers on Freeland as well, which makes some sense. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to not put him in there, but he's more than earned it.
How did Jackson take the news?
He likes to play. All of them like to play. They all take it similarly. It's interesting though. Some guys want. I'll just talk in general terms. Some guys want to know, like, hey, give me 3 days in advance so I can kind of play in my schedule. And some guys are like, I don't want to know anything. I just want to be in the lineup. I don't. So you learn. Some guys don't want back-to-back days if the day's off, like before or the day after. They don't want 2 days off. Some guys love that. So just individual.
Which guy is Jackson?
That's a clubhouse. Yeah. You don't get to know it all, but it's a fair question. Yeah, of course you do. Absolutely. Yeah, we'll see. I like to stay away from the full day, Some days when guys are off, you don't get called into work, but we also recognize, as does Jackson, that there may be a possibility for a situation for him to come taking a bat that he may show up.
Is the altitude a factor in days on here?
You can't ignore it. I mean, listen, but their group plays here half the year. It's just you're an everyday player, regardless of circumstance. I do think we factor it in. I don't like to give too much mental weight to it, but like, oh, you can't play here, you need a day off because no, man, you play in a parking lot, you play hot, cold, Antarctica, whatever, doesn't matter. You learn, you normalize competing. But we also, in the same breath, not to talk on both sides of the mouth, you can't ignore the fact we are in a little bit different environment, and we need to be aware of that.
Earlier this season, before you guys traded for 3 relievers at the deadline, you talked a lot about those late innings, even in kind of games you were behind or games you were chasing, how important they were to shut down those innings for a quality team. You've been getting that lately. You got it last night, the inning of the game. How crucial could that be down the stretch?
Crucial. I mean, you look at what we've done over this stretch in games that we've been able to win. You win a big league game, you win a game at any level in a lot of different ways. You can win by getting the lead and just bringing it home, and you started going like Dylan threw a no-hitter. That was a wonderful way to win a game. You get guys, pitchers go deep. You use 1-2 relievers, you got a 6-1 lead, boom, boom. You also win those games that you go back and forth, and you figure out a way to win just one more than the other team. You also figure out a way where you're down a run or two, and you hold it there and give your team a chance to come back, which this team has that heart, desire, consistency of competition to be able to do that, and we just put that on display. So did it last night, didn't come back, had some chances, some double play balls got us, but we were in a position to be able to do that, and the more we can hold teams at bay and give us a chance, the better chance that we have.
On the double plays, we've been to them more than anything this season. How much of that is a product of the fact that you make as much contact, you make more contact than anyone can play as much?
I think it's a byproduct of a lot of things. We actually move runners quite a bit. We do a lot of different things. It's a byproduct of a lot of people being on base. You're not getting double plays like you don't have a lot of people on base. And we had a lot of traffic last night, and that's part of it too. And we put the ball in play, which again, that's the only advantage from an offense standpoint is striking out as opposed to a double play. But we'll live with the high contact rate.
Is there anything that you can put your finger on as far as the problems you guys have had this season with the Rockies?
Baseball happens. I mean, this is a very capable team. They've got good players. It's we respected big league club. We played some games that haven't gone our way. We've won some games. Clearly we just go play, and they've been able to get big hits in big moments, and we hit the double plays last night. There's nothing to put our finger on that says oh my gosh, we should be doing this different or they're doing that better. We just we got to go execute and compete regardless of opponent, and they've been able to be on the good side of some games this year.
You're listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network. EcoWater SoCal, your water should be perfect. Find them online at EcoWaterSoCal.com. I'm Braden Soprennett filling in for Sam Levitt. That was San Diego Padres manager Mike Shildt before today's game against the Colorado Rockies. Padres and Rockies game 2 of a 3-game set. Padres trying to win their 9th consecutive series in a row if they're able to win the next 2 games. They've been red hot since the All-Star break. Just how hot? Well, let's talk about who's hot and who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to kick things up another notch? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not on the Padres Radio Network.
Who's hot and who's not? Well, it's going to be a tale of two cities of the San Diego Padres, a tale of two teams. San Diego Padres after the All-Star break. Now that's hot. San Diego has got 19-5 since the All-Star break, and their .792 winning percentage is the best in baseball, ranking 2nd and 4th in winning percentage out of the break, or the fellow NL West clubs, the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Diamondbacks have a .769 winning percentage since the break, and the Dodgers have a .615 winning percentage since the break. So despite all of that, the Padres really haven't made up too much ground in retrospect to the division or the wild card. We'll talk more about that with our out-of-town scoreboard. During that time frame as well, the Padres pitching staff and their offense has been extremely good. San Diego Padres pitchers lead Major League Baseball in opponents' average, holding opponents to a 208 batting average, and they've had a whip, which is walks and hits per innings pitched, of a 1.06 since the break. On the offensive side, the Padres batters have the third best clip in the majors, hitting 283 as a ball club. Only the Red Sox and the Diamondbacks have hit better since the All-Star break, hitting 285 and 288, respectively. Now, who's not when it comes to the Padres? Well, that'd be the Padres against the Colorado Rockies. Padres have gone just 4-7 versus the Rockies so far in 2024 and are 2-3 at Coors Field. The Friars have scored 4.18 runs per game this season versus the Rocks, which is the club's second lowest run scoring average against a single team, minimum of 7 games played. Behind just their 3.71 runs per game against the Atlanta Braves. At Coors Field, the San Diego Padres pitching staff has a 5.36 ERA and their fourth highest mark at any single stadium this season. Since the Rockies started their franchise in 1993, they have gone 274 and 252 against the Swingin' Friars. Aside from last season, in which the San Diego Padres had to sweep the Rockies at the end of the year to claim a 9-4 season series win, the Rockies have won the season series over the Padres 7 out of the last 9 seasons after they won last night. They are now 79 and 69 over that time frame. The only other time the Padres won a season series in that frame was in the shortened 2020 season. Colorado has won the season series 10 times, have lost it 4, and have tied once since 2010. The Rockies have owned the Padres for the long period of time now. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's Coors Field. Maybe it's the way the Padres play against Colorado. Maybe it's the Bud Black era. I don't know exactly what it is, but all I do know is Colorado has been a real pain in the Padres side. So who is hot? The Padres after the All-Star break. Who's not? Well, the San Diego Padres against a team wearing purple in the Colorado Rockies. That is who's hot and who's not. But we got some news for you around Major League Baseball, including a local high school and Little League World Series star making his Major League debut potentially this weekend. Let's get to Around the Horn.
What's the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball? Sam Levitt takes you Around the Horn on the Padres Radio Network.
Braden Supredit filling in for Sam Levitt on the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Well, Little League World Series is going on in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. San Diego just missed out on a team punching their ticket to Williamsport back in the just past the sectionals. Forest Ranch was one game away from going to the West Regional, in which Hawaii ended up winning and advancing to Williamsport. That's neither here nor there. But Grant Holman, who everybody remembers as one of the Chula Vista stars on the second team for Chula Vista to go to the Little League World Series, well, he has made his way through high school at East Lake High School, and now, as a member of the athletics organization, has been selected from the AAA Las Vegas affiliate for the A's and will be making his Major League debut whenever he makes his first official appearance for Oakland, hopefully sometime this weekend. 6th-round pick in the 2021 draft, Holman has worked exclusively as a reliever since he was promoted to Double-A in 2023, and his results this season have been spectacular. The righty at East Lake High School has a tiny 0.55 ERA over 48 2/3 combined innings at Double-A and Triple-A, along with a strong 29% strikeout rate and a more modest 11.83% walk rate. It should be noted that Holman has received a lot of batted ball luck in the form of a 174 BABIP against AAA competition, but allowing just one homer in 29 1/3 frames in the Pacific Coast League action is also quite impressive. So, if the A's decide to go with Grant Holman sometime this weekend, he will be making his Major League debut. Congrats to the East Lake Titan for making it to the big leagues. As for other news around Major League Baseball, two-time Cy Young Award winner Jacob deGrom faced live hitters for the third time in recent weeks on Saturday and says He feels ready to begin a rehab assignment next week in hopes of pitching for the Texas Rangers for the first time since June of 2023. My arm feels great, except now it's just been, how many months? 14? Said DeGrom was 36, who threw about 45 pitches in 3 innings. You've got your teammates in there. You go face other guys, and I think that'll help a little bit. A rehab assignment beginning next week would likely be with Double-A Frisco for Jacob deGrom. So we might be seeing Jacob deGrom relatively soon. The Milwaukee Brewers have announced that Christian Yelich will be out for the year as he underwent surgery on Friday to help his ailing back. That being said, they do expect him to be ready for the 2025 opener and opening day next year, as the Brewers said before they face the Guardians today. So Christian Yelich should be back relatively soon. And former top pick Spencer Torkelson is now back with the Detroit Tigers. He doubled and tripled in his return to the majors as the Detroit Tigers beat the Yankees 4-0 today, earlier this afternoon. But that being said, we'll talk more about that with our out-of-town scoreboard. What's going on with Fernando Tatis Jr.? We got an update on him and our injury report. More to come on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show with Braden Suprenant filling in for Sam Levitt on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Braden Suprenant, welcome back to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Filling in for Sam Levitt, who was out this weekend. Getting ready for Game 2 of a 3-game series between the Padres and the Colorado Rockies. It will be Dylan Cease for San Diego going against Kyle Freeland of Colorado. We'll have more on that in just a little bit. But first, let's get you an injury update. What's the latest with Fernando Tatis Jr.?
Who's in, who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at BadaFulkerson.com.
3 injury updates from yesterday from Mike Schilt. One on Fernando, one on Steven Kolek, and one on Wandy Peralta. We'll start with Fernando Tatis Jr., who has a right femoral stress reaction. His expected return is sometime in September. He has been going through some baseball activity, including long toss. Yesterday, manager Mike Schilt noted that Tatis is, quote, taking those next steps in his recovery. Though Schilt did not divulge a timetable, Schilt added that Tatis would likely undergo an MRI at some point in the near future. With the team in Colorado for 3 games, Tatis remained in San Diego to continue his rehab. Added by Schilt, he's definitely getting there, still wanting some healing to take place before he ramps up. And once he ramps up, he'll be getting ready pretty quickly, I would imagine. As for Steven Kolek, who has right elbow tendonitis, his expected return is listed for September. Kolek is at the team's complex in Peoria, Arizona, where he rehabs his elbow injury. As of mid-August, he has yet to resume throwing. Kolek, a Rule 5 draft selection, has a 5.21 ERA in 42 appearances this season. Left-handed pitcher and bullpen piece Wandy Peralta, who is on the injured list with a left adductor strain, is expected to return sometime in August. Peralta has begun throwing off the mound, according to manager Mike Schilt, adding that Peralta is, quote, in a good place. The veteran sustained the injury while delivering a pitch on July 9th. 3 days later, he was placed on the injured list. Peralta posted a 4.50 ERA across 41 outings in the first half. That's the latest on the Padres injury report. Got some good news to report on the out-of-town scoreboard as we are in scoreboard watching season. How's everything stacking up for the Padres in terms of the division and the wild card? Well, let's go around the horn with the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the Bigs and tell you about the scores you need to know in our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Meat, where great taste meets integrity.
Already had 5 games go final earlier today. We'll start in the National League. The New York Mets beat the Marlins 4-0 in Queens. Frank Marchese's excited. Good for you. To try to keep pace with the Atlanta Braves for that final wild card spot in the National League wild card race. That was the only National League game in action today. In interleague play, good news, Padres fans. The Tampa Bay Rays beat the Arizona Diamondbacks today down in Tampa. 6-1 victory for the Rays. That gives the Padres now a half-game lead on Arizona, not only in the division in second place, but also in the wild card standings to retake that top spot and separate themselves just a little bit. A win today, and the Padres would be a full game up on Arizona going into Sunday's game against Colorado. Other interleague play, Chicago Cubs beat the Blue Jays today in Wrigley. They won 3-2 over Toronto. Pittsburgh Pirates have won 2 straight after losing 10 straight as they defeat the Mariners in the Steel City 7-2. Games that are currently in action in the National League. It's a 1-1 ball game in the bottom half of the 6th between the Phillies and the Nationals. Other National League scores for you. The only one that really matters to Padres fans. In St. Louis, the Cardinals have tied it up against the Los Angeles Dodgers. They're tied at 1 as they go to the bottom of the 2nd inning. Interleague play, Giants and A's are scoreless in the top half of the 4th. Kansas City taking it to Cincinnati in the Queen City. They lead it 10-0 in the top half of the 4th. Brewers lead the Guardians 1-0 after 2 in Milwaukee. And then in the American League down in Texas, it's the White Sox 1 and the Astros 0 in the bottom of the 3rd. And after 3 in North Texas, the Texas Rangers have a 1-0 lead on the Minnesota Twins as they go to the top half of the 4th inning. Red Sox and Orioles are in a rain delay. They should be starting as soon as they can get a little bit of clearance with weather. Next game up for you, Padres and Rockies, and the nightcap will be the Atlanta Braves in Anaheim to take on the Los Angeles Angels. That will start at 6:38 p.m. Pacific time. That's a look at the out-of-town scoreboard, but let's refocus on the Padres and Rockies with our keys to the game.
How will the Padres unlock a victory in today's game? These are the keys to the game. Presented by Honor Buick GMC Hummer in National City.
Keys to the game. Well, it usually starts with your starting pitching. Dylan Cease needs to be a little bit of a stopgap today after a loss yesterday for the San Diego Padres. Tough pitching in high altitude, and when you are a starting pitcher for any opposing team, or really the Rockies in general up there in Coors Field, try to eat as many innings as possible, save the bullpen a little bit, and just got to keep it close as much as you can. Because in college, it's almost like men's softball up there. 3 runs is like a shutout inning when it comes to playing at Coors Field. Dylan Cease needs to have a good day today for the Padres. Needs to be the stopgap, refocus things as the Padres try to win their 9th series in a row. Only way they could do that is winning the next 2 games against Colorado. Key number 2, make Kyle Freeland break a light in the dugout. It was the last time the Padres had handled Kyle Freeland in the past. You got to get him out of the game as quickly as possible to kind of go with what your main key was of Dylan Cease being the stopgap. And on top of that, let history repeat itself. It kind of goes along with the key of getting Kyle Freeland out of the game. But if you look at the starting lineup for the Padres, which, by the way, is Profar, Solano, Bogarts, Machado, Cronenworth, Kim, Peralta, Campusano, and Johnson, that core part of the order, 2 through 8, own Kyle Freeland. Donovan Solano's career has a 1278 OPS. Bogarts has a 1045 OPS against Freeland. Machado's hit 319 against Freeland with an 831 OPS. Cronenworth hits the worst against Freeland in the lineup besides Profar, and that's a 251 average with a 698 OPS. Hassan Kim has tagged Kyle Freeland. He's got a 1232 OPS. David Peralta in his career against Freeland, 1033. Campusano's only had a couple at-bats. He's hitting 500 with 1,000 OPS. Let the core part of the order eat against Kyle Freeland. Also part of our keys to the game. So Dylan Cease needs to be a stopgap. Get Kyle Freeland out. Let the core part of the order do the damage. And the Padres should get a victory today against the Colorado Rockies. I'm Braden Soprano. This is the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the San Diego Padres radio network at 97.3 The Fan. Filling in for Sam Levitt as we get you ready for Game 2 of a 3-game series between the Rockies and the Padres right here on 97.3 The Fan. When we come back, we'll tell you what to watch for. It has a lot to do with the Padres' 8-series winning streak, plus a pitching matchup between Dylan Cease and Kyle Freeland, and we'll get you ready for first pitch for the Padres and Rockies, Game 2 of a 3-game series. All coming up next on the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan and the Padres radio network. Welcome back to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan and the Padres radio network. I'm Braden Suprenant filling in for Sam Levitt. Get you ready for Game 2 of a 3-game series between the Padres and the Colorado Rockies. It will be Dylan Cease going against Kyle Freeland. We'll see how the Padres and Rockies are lining things up in terms of a batting order before we get to the pitching preview as we get you ready for Game 2, as I mentioned. San Diego Padres rolling out kind of a new lineup that we haven't really seen, and giving a couple of guys like Jackson Merrill the day off. We'll start with the leadoff spot. Jerickson Profar bats leadoff today and will play left field. Donovan Solano playing third base, bats second. Batting third and at second base is Xander Bogaerts. Manny Machado bats cleanup and is the designated hitter today for San Diego. A little bit off, getting a beat off his legs a little bit. Jake Cronenworth bats fifth. He plays first. Ha-Seong Kim plays shortstop and bats sixth. Sixth. David Peralta will bat seventh and play right field. Luis Camposano batting eighth is the catcher. And Bryce Johnson getting the start in center field will bat ninth today for the San Diego Padres against Kyle Freeland. Charlie Blackmon leads things off for the Rockies. He is the designated hitter for Colorado. Ezekiel Tovar will bat second and is the shortstop today. Brendan Doyle plays center field and will bat third. Ryan McMahon playing third base and is batting cleanup. Brendan Rodgers at second base bats fifth. Michael Toglia will play first base and bat sixth. Jake Cave batting seventh and in right field. Beck is in left batting eighth, and Romo behind the dish for Colorado and catching today for the Colorado Rockies. Let's talk a little bit more about the pitching matchup after we take a look at what to watch for in today's game.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For. Presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovementsSD.com.
San Diego Padres are in danger of snapping an 8-series win streak. That's on the line tonight. If the Padres lose tonight, they'll lose the series. They've already lost the season series to Colorado. But the Padres entered the Rockies series having won 8 straight series since the All-Star break, tying the franchise record for consecutive series victories, which was May 11th to June 7th, 2007. The Arizona Diamondbacks have also won 8 straight series out of the break, making it the first time in Major League Baseball history multiple teams have done so out of the break. It is just the 4th and 5th times in Major League Baseball history that a team has won 8+ series to start the second half, joining the A's streak of 8 in 2005, Royals streak of 13 in 1980, and the New York Yankees streak of 11 back in 1943. Padres have not lost back-to-back games since they lost the last game of the first half of the season and the first game of the second half from August 14th to the 19th. They haven't lost games in consecutive days since July 9th and 10th, both versus Seattle. Some crazy stats right there for the San Diego Padres. And the Arizona Diamondbacks have already lost today, so which means they will not win 9 consecutive series in a row. They will stick to 8. Padres, with a win today, can keep that hope alive. So watching for that. The other thing I've kind of mentioned in the keys of the game, Donovan Solano hitting .444 career against Kyle Freeland with a 1278 OPS. Xander Bogaerts, who's batting third tonight, hitting .375 against Freeland with a 1045 OPS. Machado's hitting .319 in his career against Kyle Freeland, 831 OPS. Jake Cronenworth, .259 average, 698 OPS. Ha-Seong Kim, who's batting sixth tonight, .389 average against Kyle Freeland, a 1232 OPS. Peralta, 368, 1033 OPS. Camposano, not enough sample size, but he's batting .500 against Kyle Freeland in his career with 1,000 OPS. And the only one that's really struggled against Kyle Freeland was his teammate from a year ago, and Jerickson Profar, who's hitting 158 against them with a 348 OPS. So if Jerks and Profar can start the game off with a knock and get to Kyle Freeland early, let 2, 3, 4 in the order do some damage against the left-hander. Padres, despite not having a lot of success against the Rockies over the last couple of years, they have had a lot of success against the starting pitcher in Kyle Freeland, which sets us up for a probably favorable pitching matchup for the Padres in Dylan Cease versus Kyle Freeland. Let's take a deeper dive.
Let's take a look at who's on the bump today with our starting pitching preview. Presented by Chimney Sweeps, Inc., San Diego's trusted chimney and fireplace service company for 40 years. Call Chimney Sweeps, Inc. at 1-800-CHIMNEY or book an inspection online at chimneysweepsinc.com.
Making his 26th start of the 2024 season, his 149th start of his Major League Baseball career, 28-year-old right-hander out of Milton, Georgia, Dylan Cease. Cease has a Major League record 6 outings of 6+ innings pitched with 1 hit or fewer allowed, with no other pitcher since at least 1901 ever having more than 4 in a single season. And the first of those 6 came here at Coors Field in his 5th start of the season on April 22nd, where he went 7 innings, 1 earned run, 8 strikeouts, and no walks. This season in total, Dylan Cease is 11-9 with a 3.41 ERA, 181 strikeouts over 142 2/3 innings pitched. In his career, he posts a 54-44 record with a 3.75 ERA, 973 strikeouts in 800 2/3 innings pitched. Last outing for Cease came on August 11th against the Miami Marlins. It was a 7-6 loss in which Cease went 5 innings, allowing 5 runs, 2 of them earned, while walking 2 batters and striking out 5. Last month, Cease earned his 3rd career Pitcher of the Month award for July after previously winning in back-to-back months in June and July of 2022 as a member of the Chicago White Sox. He is the first San Diego pitcher to win the award since Blake Snell won it in June and September-October of his 2023 NL Cy Young award-winning season. Across 6 starts in July, Dylan Cease led the majors in strikeouts with 49, tied for the Major League in wins with 4, and starts with 6. He also ranked 2nd in innings pitched with 38 1/3, 3rd in opponent's average at a 143 clip, 6th in whip at 0.81, and 9th in ERA with a 2.35. The 2022 AL Cy Young runner-up won 4 games within a single month for the first time since July 2022, and is the first Padres starter with 4 wins in a single month since Blake Snell did so en route to his Cy Young award last July. He'll be going against Kyle Freeland, who's making his 14th start of the 2024 season for the Colorado Rockies. 6'4", 204-pound left-hander from Denver, Colorado, Kyle Freeland. This season, Freeland is 3-4 with a 5.75 ERA, 56 strikeouts, and 67 1/3 innings of work. In his career, Kyle Freeland 58-69 with a 4.48 ERA, 791 strikeouts in 1,051 2/3 innings pitched in 197 appearances. Last time out for Kyle Freeland came on August 11th against the Atlanta Braves. It was a 9-8 win for the Colorado Rockies. In the game, Freeland only went 3 2/3 innings, allowed 3 earned runs on 4 hits with 1 walk and 1 strikeout. In his career against the San Diego Padres, we talked about what his numbers are against most of the starting lineup. But Kyle Freeland against the Swinging Friars, one of the lone Rockies that doesn't have success against the Padres. 7-7 with a 4.37 ERA, 12 home runs allowed, 38 walks, and 86 punchouts. Dylan Cease, Kyle Freeland, that is today's pitching matchup as we get you ready for Game 2 of the 3-game series between the Padres and the Rockies. First pitch will be coming up at about 5:20 due to Todd Helton being inducted into the Hall of Fame. A little bit of a ceremony there in Colorado. Coming up next, Jesse Agler and Tony Gwynn Jr. with the call as it's Padres and Rockies. I'm Braden Suprenant filling in for Sam Levitt. I'll be back in the postgame show, hopefully following a Padres win. This has been the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.